Hello everyone, and welcome to our first fall edition of What's Up in ELPS, the show about what's happening in your school, brought to you by your kids. I'm Courtney Ingalls.
And I'm Natalie Rathbun. Courtney, it's Thanksgiving already. We haven't even done a show since June.
I know. It seems hard to believe how fast time has gone, but you and I have been so busy with fall sports, homework, and just being high school students.
Yeah, it's nice to have a little break here. Sports have ended, the marking term has ended, and Thanksgiving is coming up. So we can take a look at some of the things that have been going on around the district this fall while we were busy being high school students.
First up, we go back to October 7th at Mountain View School, where students, staff, and community members turned out to walk in a fundraiser for 5th grade student Alex Blaze, whose positive spirit and courage in his fight against cancer has been an inspiration to his family, friends, and the whole community. Mountain View Principal Elaine Santinello talked about the event at a recent school committee meeting, noting that the walk raised over $10,000 in donations from parents, staff, and even unexpected donors.
The day of the walk, a gentleman walked in and wouldn't identify himself and handed us $400 cash and said he just wanted to make an anonymous donation. The parents were extremely generous in the school. It was a great day. Alex had a great time. He was really excited. So that's the whole 5th grade in the bottom picture, which is what grade Alex is in. And that's him up at the top with some of his best friends and his sister. So it was a great day.
Now, another example of the ways East Longmeadow Public Schools work to engage students with the larger community, a new class this fall at ELHS called Community Action Learning. From an idea initiated last year by ELHS Technology Department teachers Todd Less and Mark Green, a curriculum plan was developed over the summer for a year-long course built around students identifying needs in the community, developing projects to effectively address those needs, and implementing those solutions through collaboration and technology. ELHS teacher and career counselor Mark Macarini and IT paraprofessional Kayla Sullivan oversee the group. Macarini says the course challenges a lot of assumptions about how students approach learning and problem solving.
Yeah, I think that's the biggest thing, is it's not a teacher-centered class. It's a student-centered class. It's not my job to teach them what they need to know. It's their job to find what they need to know. I think that's the most important thing for them. And they're not all comfortable doing that without a rubric or a grade for every little thing that they have to do.
Students had free rein to think locally or globally and come up with their own ideas for projects that were meaningful to them.
Be the change.
Sei der Unterschied.
Lasu thay Sii il cambiamento.
يكون التغيير.
Будь изменения.
Sé el cambio. One group project is focused on reclaiming a small greenhouse in the science wing at ELHS. Here's that story produced by ELHS journalism students Andrea Cipriani and Jennifer Carlos.
The Community Action Learning class of East Longmeadow High School has kicked off with a great start to its first year of being an available course. Emily Goggin, Alec Orzel, Jessica Fritz, and Madison Hayes are students in the class who plan to renovate the school's greenhouse, a feat which has not been attempted in years. Emily Goggin had this to say about the benefits the greenhouse will not only have for the high school, but for the entire community.
Well, I think it's a great opportunity because it is our class that's doing it in addition to the environmental club, but like we wouldn't mind if anyone wanted to volunteer to help us, and we would probably give out volunteer hours. So it's a good experience to start, like, to gives kids an opportunity to like work with their hands in the greenhouse, and of course there's health benefits to locally grown produce.
Mark Macarini, the class instructor, has high hopes for the group even though there will be several obstacles to overcome.
I think not having a set curriculum and building it as you go, things move slower than you wish they did. But that's also nice because it gives you a lot of flexibility with the things that you can do. And we're doing a lot of stuff with building websites to creating videos to promote what we're doing and track what we're doing. A lot of Google things, a lot of research online, and finding people that can help us do what we need to do.
Emily elaborated on what repairs are necessary to get the greenhouse back in shape.
So we're planning on fixing it up. There's a lot of problems. Like there's problems with the the temperature system and with like a fan and the watering system. And then we're gonna eventually begin planting different like vegetables and fruits and probably like perennial flowers, so they come back every year.
Besides perennials, she mentioned the other types of plants they will be growing.
Green beans, that kind of thing, and different other leafy vegetables. Instead of being really seasonal, they continue to grow. So we're going to keep doing that so we can keep using the vegetables throughout the year, maybe have them in the cafeteria and that kind of thing eventually.
Mr. Mack is happy with the way they have gone about solving this issue.
It's been a big experience for them, learning about all the different people that you need to contact and reach out to in order to get things moving. And they've done a very good job learning how to professionally network and talk to adults and to get things done that they want to do.
The course offers a way for students to not only help out their community, but shows them a new way to problem solve that can be used later on in life for their careers.
With this, it's a lot more student-directed, where students need to take the initiative to do what they need to do to get their project done that they've selected. And we're here more as a support group, the teachers and the faculty, to help them with what they want to do. And a lot of kids are not comfortable with that process. They like to be told what to do next and what to do next. But as they're getting more comfortable with that, I think they're learning a lot out of it and learning how to get an actual job done. So when they have a job someday and their boss says, "This is what I need you to do," and then he leaves the room, they're not lost saying, "Well, what is the first step that I do?" Now they have a process to go through for solving problems and getting their job done that they need to do.
The group plans to finish their work over the next year with help from the grant supplied by the Gardening Club of East Longmeadow.
Empowering students to be real-world problem solvers is a fundamental idea behind STEM education in schools, an emphasis on science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. Makerspaces are places where students can create, invent, experiment, and discover through tools and materials from cardboard tubes and glue sticks to electric drills and 3D printers. Partnering with Maple Shade and Mountain View Elementary Schools, Birchland Park has created a new makerspace in the school's library and stocked it with donated materials, hand tools, books, and plenty of workspace for kids to explore the ways things work, fit together, and undergo the transition from ideas to inventions. BPMS librarian Kaylin Schroyer is the primary energy force pulling the library makerspace together.
The makerspace movement at Birchland Park came about because I was reading and on emails from other librarians around the country talking about makerspaces, and I was wondering what exactly they were about, and they were talking about Lego creations and all kinds of things that tied in with the curriculum. And then they started talking about 3D printers, and I thought, well, what's a 3D printer? So I started researching that and decided that Birchland Park definitely needed to have a makerspace. Well, where were we going to put it? And it came about because I thought, well, we have a big reference section in here that has not really been used since we moved into the new building. And the books were old, and so I thought, okay, well, if I go through and I take out the stuff that really isn't used, we can rearrange the bookshelves, and we have a great makerspace in here for our kids to use. We had the 30 computers in here for them to do their research. We had the books to use, so that anything that they wanted to do and learn how to do, we could do it. We just needed the space to accommodate.
The inclusion of elementary students in the Makerspace project was important from the beginning, says Maple Shade Principal Michael Fredette.
The elementary level is particularly important because all of the skills that you learn in a makerspace are skills that you need for college readiness, career readiness, and if we don't start those skills early, then the middle school and the high school has a lot more work to do on getting kids to be able to collaborate effectively, to problem solve their way through different types of materials, through different types of problems, through making mistakes and taking risk and trial and error. And all these things are so important for elementary kids because if they have those skills, then they can work on much more robust projects going forward at the middle school and high school level without having to learn how to collaborate, how to take a risk, how to get stuck on something and struggle and break down, where they can have that already in their toolbox and be better learners and more productive for the future.
BPMS Principal Tim Allen expects the Makerspace to be fully up and running by the time students return from the winter break.
So we started meeting last spring, and we've had a bunch of committee meetings, and the goal is to be fully up and running for classes coming and going right after the holiday break, so sometime in January. But we already have students coming and going through it, using some of the materials. We actually have 50 kids in there today doing a math project. So I would say we're sort of in our soft opening phase, and we hope to be fully up and running around the new year.
The Makerspace Committee has reached out to area businesses for support and hopes to bring the surprising diversity of East Long Meadow's manufacturing and technology expertise into the dynamic learning environment.
Yeah, a big part of this project is going to be getting the local business community involved and making it come alive even more by connecting it to real-world jobs and real-world technology. So especially when it comes to some of the local manufacturers, we feel like we really want to start a relationship there where they can help us, you know, both with materials and old supplies, but just as importantly with ideas and new types of manufacturing that are taking place and how we can prepare our students to really dive in and engage with those skills and then be ready to demonstrate those skills as they get closer to the workforce.
Speaking of STEM learning, teachers at Maple Shade heard a presentation on November 8th from Mike Flynn, an award-winning educator and director of the Mathematics Leadership Programs at Mount Holyoke College.
Doing something stupid, getting sent to the office, and getting
Flynn
in
used
trouble.
anecdotes from his own experiences in school and some cool demonstrations in his presentation, which was part of the district-wide professional development programs offered on November 8th, Election Day.
Now, hold on. This is the thing I want you to see. So I want everyone to look. Ready? So what are you wondering? And so I encourage all of you to think about the kinds of tasks that we can give students. Think about how we can engage them and make a real difference so we change students instead of getting them to be answer getters, that we get them to be thoughtful thinkers in the world.
Maple Shade students were treated in October to a visit from internationally renowned photographer and author Richard Sobel, whose work encompasses wildlife subjects, culture, building projects, and historical sites around the world. Here's a report on Sobel's presentation from the Maple Shade Tech Club.
Award-winning photographer and author Richard Sobel recently visited Maple Shade School in East Long Meadow to share adventures and stories from his books and world travels. He has traveled 45 countries and has been published in Time, National Geographic, Newsweek, and People magazines. Let's take a look at Richard's visit in our school and listen to his interview at the end of the clip.
My life can get a little interesting at times. I've been chased by hippos. I've eaten an orange with an orangutan. I cuddled with bear cubs. I've gazed with gazelle. I've sat with seals. I've been splashed by the tail of a whale. I've run with and sometimes away from elephants. I even lost a brand new tripod to a monkey.
I would say that the important thing for students to do is to find something that they really love to do and then find a way to continue pursuing that. That for me, I loved taking photographs, so I found a way to make that my job, and then by adding words and becoming a writer, I found that I could actually make a living and make it a way to survive. Part I love about traveling is when I get to the place. I don't love the travel part of traveling. It's not easy to pack all my gear and get it through airport security and worry about all the tension involved in traveling. And I still get nervous, even though I travel a lot. I'm worried and concerned, did I forget something, or the connection's gonna work? But once I get to my destination, I take a deep breath and I'm really happy to be there.
Now a story about an ELHS teacher who brings unique experience and perspective to his work. This profile was produced and edited by students in the high school journalism class working with LCAT to create segments for What's Up and LCAT News.
We sat down with substitute teacher Greg Garnes, who, although is a substitute teacher, is like just as much, if not more, than others.
I've been here for about 6 years now as a, almost like a daily substitute teacher. And, I taught for almost 30 years in the Springfield school department at Central High School. And I retired, and after a year of retirement, I missed the academic atmosphere. I love teaching. I love what I chose as a career, and so I decided that I wanted to get back into it in some form. And so I went to East Long Meadow High School and applied for a substitute position, and they hired me. And I love it.
That's great. What are so a lot of people have preconceived notions about Springfield. It's a lot different than East Long Meadow. So what's the difference between the two schools that you noticed?
Well, in the Springfield, at Central High School, there was much more cultural diversity. In fact, it was almost 1/3 white, 1/3 Hispanic, 1/3 Afro-American. And it's just because of the makeup of a city. That tends to be the population of urban areas. You get out to a suburban area like East Long Meadow, and it is not quite as culturally diverse. And that's not because they want it that way. It's just the way the population of the town is made up. So I would think that, that's as far as cultural diversity, that's the difference.
Right. And well, also, a lot of people want to know that you've been here as a substitute teacher. Almost, it seems like you are not a substitute teacher. You're almost here every day. What's that like exactly?
I love it. I just enjoy being around teenagers because I find that they energize me. They keep me young. Biologically, I can't stop from aging. But mentally, I can be a 16-year-old if I want to in this atmosphere. You help me stay young. And I just really enjoy coming in every day and also being in different disciplines. I may be in a history class one day, an English class the next day. I may be doing Latin, I may be doing a science, and I kind of enjoy that. And I enjoy interacting with the students.
What is your favorite subject to teach?
Well, I think my favorite subject is the one I taught when I was, for 28 years, and that would be social studies, particularly post-Civil War American history.
Garnes' wife, Mrs. Garnes, is a paraprofessional at East Long Meadow High School. We asked him what was it like coming to work with her every single day.
It's great because we can take one car to work each day. But as far as being in the same building doesn't mean we see each other. I rarely, in fact, see her during the school day. But it's nice when I do pass her in the hall to be able to say hello to her. That's a nice thing, right? So it's good.
And finally, when asked about improving the school, he touched upon his educational experience and school spirit.
I think there's a couple things. I think some students, not all, but there are students who don't take the high school learning experience as seriously as they ought to. And I think it's because they're kids and they don't realize how important it is at this point in their lives to really get a great foundation educationally so that they can go on to college or even go on to a trade school, you know, or learn a craft and then get out in the real world and help contribute to our society. And also to be able to economically be comfortable as far as, you know, being able to live in a nice house or buy a nice car or go to the theater or, you know, get into those kinds of things. The second area is school spirit. And I think what's been going on this week is wonderful. How we've had each day is a different day. And of course today is School Spirit Day with the pep rally this afternoon, and I think that plays in wonderfully to school spirit. But I don't see that all the time. I don't see the cohesiveness of the school coming together and being proud of being Spartans. And you ought to be proud that I'm an East Long Meadow Spartan, and I'm at the best school in Western Massachusetts.
Finally, an annual event that's been a tradition at Meadowbrook School for many, many years, the Thanksgiving play presented by Mrs. Bates and Mrs. Roby's kindergarten classes. Here's an excerpt. Be sure to watch the whole play on LCAT throughout the holiday weekend or online at LCAT 1028. That's it for this edition. Join us next time for a look at what's up in ELPS. I'm Natalie. And I'm Courtney. See you next time and have a happy Thanksgiving.